Hey guys, how's it going? I'm here to basically just talk about my opinions on Monster Hunter Rise. Now, typically, I would have had this video done a long time ago, but some things kind of happened, and by that I mean my Switch has a swollen battery and is in repair, and I won't be receiving it for about 3 weeks, at least according to Nintendo, about 3 weeks. So a lot of the footage that you're going to see is just going to be from trailers and stuff like that. When I would have liked to originally just have gameplay of myself playing. I do have some footage from before that happened, so any gameplay you see, most likely will have some of my character in some of them, but some will just be trailers and stuff like that, or cutscenes from the game. So yeah, there it is. So Monster Hunter Rise, right? It's a very good game. I have over like I want to say over 100 hours or so. And I've reached the highest hunter rank. I've done every village quest. I've done every hub quest. So I've done everything there is to do other than just grinding and getting my ideal armor set and things like that. Uh, and honestly, just based on the gameplay alone, it is easily my favorite Monster Hunter game I've played. Mind you, I haven't played a ton of them. I've only played, like, counting Rise, only 3 games in the series. So I'm not a veteran by any means. But it's definitely my favorite just off the gameplay alone. And I feel that I don't see myself dropping the game anytime soon once new content does come out for it. As of right now, I do think it is the best game I have played this year, although this year is just getting started. There's still a bunch of games that have yet to release. Um, and I have a hard time seeing Monster Hunter Rise dropping a huge amount. There are some games coming out that I can see, you know, being some of my favorites of the year, but Monster Hunter Rise was just really fun and really exciting to get through. I'm also pretty sure Monster Hunter Rise is the game that basically caused my swollen battery, as I used to just play non-stop day after day. As soon as I had free time, it was spent entirely on Rise, entirely on that game. And I'm just kind of excited to see what happens in the future of this game. Like, what content are they going to add? Are they going to do a sort of expansion like Monster Hunter World had with Iceborne? Which I'm kind of really hoping for, because I want to see a massive, big boom in terms of content. So that way I have an excuse to continue playing the game for another 100 hours or so. Because while grinding can be fun to a certain extent, if I don't have anything to beat in mind, like a goal in mind that makes that grinding worth it, then it becomes a little harder to justify spending my time on that when I could be playing, other games that I need to play, like games in my backlog or games that are about to come out in the next few months or so. I think some of the monster designs are really cool. I think some returning monsters are nice. I think the game has a good variety when it comes to the types of monsters. If you've played Monster Hunter World, there was a lot of wyverns in that game. And wyverns or dragons, whatever you want to call them, I think they're really cool. But I think you need a good variety so that way when you do fight them, it feels cool. It doesn't just feel like a normal fight to me. I feel like Rise has a good balance. It has a lot of large monkey or gorilla type monsters or ape monsters. There's insect monsters. There's wyverns as usual. There's a lot of like bear like monsters as well. And I really like that. I really like having that variety. I think it's really good. And I also think that flagship monster Magna Malo is really cool. I think he has one of the coolest themes in all of Monster Hunter from that I'm aware of. I really like the music when you're fighting Magna Malo. There's certain other themes that I also like, but I don't want to get into it because it does get into kind of like a spoilery territory on where story goes. And same thing with certain monsters. I don't want to, talk about certain monsters that come out later in the game because some people might want to be surprised and look into these kind of experiences. But I will say that the monsters and the themes that come out later in the game are also really interesting and really fun to fight as well. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like I know there's a certain amount of people who play Monster Hunter because they enjoy the grind, they enjoy the prospect of getting like the perfect gear and the perfect set. But for me in particular, my favorite thing about Monster Hunter is just fighting the monsters. So the more monsters you have, the different monsters you have, the more variety of the monsters, the more the monsters are exciting to fight against or unique or whatever the case may be. Everything tied to that is what makes me like it more. And I think that's why I think Monster Hunter Rise is my most positive experience playing a Monster Hunter game, because a lot of the new mechanics that are added, like the endemic life, the wire bug mechanics, things like that, add to the gameplay itself, the game of like fighting the monsters themselves, and the gameplay really changes drastically when they implement these things. The map layouts in Monster Hunter Rise is drastically more interesting now. They don't just feel like a map in a sense where you just have to go to where you gotta go, pick up some stuff and fight the monster and that's it. It feels so much more interesting now, because now I specifically remember all the little endemic life creatures that will help me in my hunt, and I have to traverse. The verticality on these maps is so much more interesting. Typically in your Monster Hunter maps, like, you have some levels of verticality, but you kind of have to go up or down depending on like vines that you climb up, or you would fall down a hole, whatever the case may be. But with Monster Hunter Rise, everything is climbable, more or less. As long as you have the stamina and the wire bugs to do it, you can pretty much climb up to any surface within the hunting zone, within the map. And that makes the map design so much more interesting, because they clearly designed the map around that mechanic, around the wire bug mechanic as a whole. Before, it wasn't really necessary, because you didn't really have a way to climb any surface in other Monster Hunter games. They only had like specific sections where they specifically had to put in like a vine or something that would let you climb up. But in Monster Hunter Rise, when you have this ability to climb up pretty much any wall as long as you have wire bug and stamina, they have so many little secrets for you to collect around each of these maps, because they know you have this ability. The maps are designed with that in mind, and that's what makes them so much better. This game is great. And I don't think I can do it any justice. But honestly, if you are someone who has an interest in a multiplayer title, co-op title, not competitive, but a multiplayer co-op title on your Switch, you cannot go wrong with Monster Hunter Rise. I highly recommend it. And honestly, I say go out and buy it. Go out and buy Monster Hunter Rise. It is worth your time. And that's kind of it. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have played Monster Hunter Rise, if you've tried it out, maybe you're interested. Just let me know what you're currently thinking about when you look at that game. And until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Shifty, yeah, Shifty, wanna be the #1 gamer, come and get me. It'd be dope if you subscribe, could you like the vid, please? Take your time, you don't gotta do it swiftly. Shifty, Shifty, wanna be the #1